Each season, the Loft plans thematic programming, classes, and events. And this winter spring, the theme is Sense of Adventure. You are one of our Sense of Adventure teaching artists, Kelsey. Could you introduce yourself and your class?
Hello, I am Kelsey Daly, and I am teaching a class on wilderness adventure writing. We're going to be tackling a lot of really fun things in this course. We're going to be talking about writing about outdoor sports, the really wide range of sports touched upon, from adaptive mountain biking to skiing, kayaking, and ways that you can take the sport that you love to do outdoors and interweave your personal narrative and story along with it. We'll also be touching on nature writing as well as conservation and some of the challenges facing our environment. So yeah, that's a quick rundown.
So obviously all of the topics you just mentioned are going to go into the answer of this next question, but what does adventure mean to you?
To me personally, I think adventure is, especially now in the COVID era, it's a state of mind. It's bringing a certain perspective and ability to be observant and curious and open wherever you go. So that can be going for a walk in the woods that you've seen 100 times in your neighborhood. That could be doing, the big flashy adventure where you're getting far from home and trying new things. But I think it's always possible to approach the activities you're doing with a certain mindset that's going to allow you to see new things every time, and also really going to strengthen your ability as a writer.
Then do you have a personal story of adventure that you want to share with us?
Absolutely. I would say the best thing about this year has been getting out and about in Minnesota parks, especially the ones really close to home, places that I've really taken for granted. And so, getting out to Theo Worth, Minnehaha, all of the incredible natural places we have right at our doorstep, and getting to both spend quiet time there, just observing and listening, and then also doing fun things like running and mountain biking and exploring, and yeah, taking advantage of everything that's right on our doorstep right now.
Absolutely. I've been feeling that exact same way. I live a little bit south of the city, and being able to even just walk around the neighborhoods, I am not sure that I would normally have taken advantage of that this summer if I hadn't been able to not to go to my normal places, not go to restaurants and not go to bars.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a good friend of mine had such a good way of putting it, which is that when we're outside our comfort zones, when we're traveling, when we're seeing a place for the first time, we tend to bring a certain mindset into it where we're more open, we're more curious, we're more willing to interact with people and activities we maybe normally wouldn't. And then we get back home, we get back into our routine, and we kind of shut all of those traits down. Think about going to the grocery store. Like, I know the aisles, I know where to go. I'm just going to slip back into my pattern. You can actually bring that same mindset with you into the grocery store, and you're bound to see something different, and to recognize a detail or a person, or just to recognize something that you didn't before, based on switching into that travel adventure mindset wherever you are.
So right now, obviously with COVID, that travel adventure mindset is so much more available than actually traveling. And so many of us are facing isolation, we're facing anxiety, we're facing worrying about our friends and our family. So how have you been able to really hang on to that sense of adventure, and find the brightness in a time that can seem pretty dark?
Well, of course, one way I think a lot of us writers are doing it is through literature. You can, within a page or two, be swept away into someone else's mindset, someone else's world, years ago, years in the future. And so definitely tapping both, revisiting some old favorites and getting lost in some old familiar favorite places, as well as continually pushing and saying, hey, I've never read about this topic from this perspective. Um, this activity that I can't do this year, but I want to learn more about. So I think this has been a great opportunity for us to really nestle in and to think about, hey, yeah, what do I want my life to look like in the next couple of years? What adventures do I want to take, and how can I start preparing my heart, mind, and soul for them right now? And books are a great way to do that, and a great way uh, to have experiences that you can have from the comfort of your home. So yeah, that's been hitting that reading list for sure.
And there's so many, right? There are so many books written about adventures from really the beginning of when we have, the written word. Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is such a pervasive topic for writers?
I think all of us, we know who we are when we're at home. We know who we are with our classmates and our teachers. And it's that same phenomena where we kind of get into our patterns, and we kind of get into our ruts where this is how I interact when I'm, with this teacher, and this is how I interact with my parents or my guardians. And it's almost like we get stuck in a role that we become comfortable playing, even if it's a role we're not crazy about. And so I think there's always that question lingering of, who else can I be? What person would I be facing other challenges? And especially reading and writing is an awesome way to explore other ways of being in the world. And I think the adventure, the leaving on a huge adventure, is the original reinvent yourself story. It's a chance to develop traits that you think you have, but you're just not sure because you've just gotten stuck in your patterns at home. I think we're all curious who we would be if given the option to, climb that mountain or get on that ship, or all of the classic adventure themes, but also, quieter adventures. What if I was in a different town? What if I, spoke a different language? There are so many ways to explore that don't require such huge shifts that we're all curious to take.
Yeah, the question, what would I look like with bangs? And then you find
Definitely
out.
that one. Always that one. Yes. The adventure of bangs.
Well, drawing together a few different things that you have said, just talking about how the sense of adventure gives us the opportunity to explore who we are in ways that we might not be, but holding that also up against right now with the pandemic, that many of us are being forced to occupy those normal modes of who we are pretty much all the time. Be that parent, be that caretaker, um, be that just person who works at your job and now you have no time away from your desk. And so thinking about those two things together and also about your class, what is it that you really want students to take away from this class with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think um, I think really it's the gift of observation, and of learning ways to explore topics that maybe you think are familiar, but have so many more dimensions to them than you realize. For example, maybe you have a tree in your backyard that you've seen every day for the last how many years, and but when you you stop and look at that leaf, or you look at the bark, and you learn, oh, this is why the bark is structured this way. Or like a family pet, like you have a cat, you're like, wait, why is their fur this color? Why what is this function? Why do they sleep in the sun? There are so many living creatures and systems, ecosystems all around us that we just take for granted, that a little peer under the hood will really change and enliven how you interact with your daily life. Um, And same with these bigger systems and structures, so climate change. Um, there's so much going on around us, and sometimes we just need to have a perspective shift to get plugged into the possibilities and adventures and needs that are right on our doorstep.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Kelsey. For our listeners, you can find Kelsey's class and the rest of our Sense of Adventure classes at the Loft website, loft.org. And Kelsey, I'm so excited for this class to run. I think it sounds fantastic.
Thank you.